Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. I know it's one I often use, but I think it's a fairly good adage. Never believe anything until it's been officially denied. And Starmer has said of the Labour government that it has, and I quote, no plans to introduce free movement of people. What do we think? Well, my takeaway from that is Labour Party are planning the free movement of people. Why would they put it in such a way as saying we have no plans to introduce the free movement of people, rather than say, no, we've point blank refused to allow the free movement of people. We reject the principle of the free movement of people. We say there will be no free. No, they're not saying any of that. They're not being definitively against. They're not saying it won't happen. All they're saying is we have no plans to allow the free movement of people, which is not the same thing. And that means, of course, as I say, that it's definitely going to happen. Never ask a politician a yes or no question because they refuse to answer them. But you do know that if they fail to say yes, then the answer is no. And that's the principle at stake here. Now, the people of this country were very clear in 2016 when they voted Brexit. This government is doing its absolute best to reverse it, but it's not going to do it with a referendum, because the Labour Party don't like referendums, because they know that they always lose them, because the people of this country will always vote the correct way, which is not the Labour way. They don't trust people. They don't like people having power. And so what are they going to do? They're going to salami slice it. And the first thing you know, it'll be, oh, well, we're going to allow people under 30 free movement so that they can come here for education and shit. And then it'll be like, well, it seems that 30 is an odd cut off. We'll make it 40, and then it'll be everybody. And then, like, look, we've got free movement. We might as well go in with the free trade. And the next thing you know, you'll have the German army marching up Whitehall. That's the way it's going. But you won't get a vote on this matter. Oh, no. You're not allowed votes in Starmer's new dictatorship. Well, you are allowed a vote. And on it is a box saying, do you wish to obey the rules of our glorious leader, Kim Il-Starmer, or do you wish to go to prison? They will be the two options. And basically, well, we see it's happening now, isn't it? If you speak out against the government, off to prison you go. So he's reversing Brexit, although, of course, he's denying that he's reversing Brexit. And he's doing so without a vote. Now, he's calling it the Great Brexit Reset. But we don't need it reset. It's working perfectly fine, thank you. In fact, it would be nice if we actually achieved Brexit and got rid of all European influence over this country and have nothing. No one outside of this country can tell us what to do or can impose a will or a law or anything. And currently, that's not the case. We are still subject to foreign oversight. So we still haven't achieved Brexit yet. But that's what he's doing. They're recouching the language, like, from illegal immigrant to irregular migrant. It's the recouching of language in the hope that we don't notice. And so they take our words away so that we cannot protest if we don't have the words. If we don't have the words to use, then we can't go against what they're doing. Very Orwellian, but that's what's happening again. So it's not, let's reverse Brexit. It's let's reset this thing. And so this is what he's launching, his Great Brexit Reset. And it's a load of old tosh, isn't it? He's calling it a once in a generation. Well, 2016 to 2024 is not a generation. Not by a long shot. So it's not a once in a generation, is it? Starmer lies again. If it was once in a generation, it'd be, let's say, 2032, 2035, something like that. But no. So he's off there meeting with the Germans, meeting with Olaf Scholz. Presumably they're working on a plan for German oversight. I mean, it's very apt that he's going to Germany, isn't it? As well, it won't be the first time he's adopting German policies, after all, would it? We all know. He's swearing allegiance to Starmer. The Reichsfuhrer will be coming back all empowered, won't he? He'll probably be asking for a single party state, and then we'll have the Fifth Reich, won't we? That's where it's going. He's already starting to plan, I think, for the concentration camps, or 15-minute ghettos, as they call them. The Germans were very good with ghettos. Just ask the Poles in Warsaw. So yeah, that seems to be the general direction. He wants to have big negotiations with the EU. He wants to open up the borders. He wants to increase open trading again, despite the people of Britain saying, no, look, we voted on this. Do we get a vote against it? Oh, no, you don't get a vote against it. 20% of the electorate voted for Labour, and that's the mandate for us to do what we want, according to Kim Il-Starmer. And so that's it. We have to put up with it. And you can't go against what he says, or you'll end up in jail. But he wants this UK-German treaty. And it's very odd that they're calling it this, because under EU law, you can't have a single treaty with a country. It has to be with the whole of the EU. But they've got this German-UK treaty, which is supposedly to cover things like science and innovation and things like that. But nobody knows why. It's very weird. But what it is, like I say, it's one of those salami slice tactics. Slowly, slowly, slowly reintegrate, and the cancer of the EU to surround us and absorb us, and we become just a little enclave within the greater EU until eventually the full absorption occurs. And then we'll probably have to hand over our nuclear weapons to Brussels. And our soldiers who signed up and swore allegiance to Her Majesty or His Majesty will now be signing and swearing allegiance to whoever's leading the EU. At which point, of course, every soldier will leave, and who can blame them? But he goes on about these things, but he won't address the issues. And whenever he's questioned, will you have a vote on this? Will you put this to the people? The answer is no, because he doesn't trust the people. They don't. They cannot give power away. They've waited 14 years for this power, and they're not going to give anything back to the people now. They're going to change this country beyond belief so very quickly until the revolution, at which point, of course, there'll be danglings. Those lampposts in Westminster will be filled, won't they? Like gibbets. I would pay money to see that. Allegedly. Got to be careful. I'm not saying go down and do it, but I'm saying if anyone is going to do it, give us notice. I'll stand from the sidelines with my binoculars. Don't want to get too close, but I'll be there. Anyway, we'll leave that there. Just as Comrade Keir hands over the keys to the kingdom to the Germans. Let me know what you think. Take care, speak soon, and goodbye.